Hey guys, it's Steve for CollectorMania here, continuing the 32 series. We are on to America, which is, I've chosen Numot. I think that's Jeskai now, once again going back to the old ways. So anyway, Numot the Devastator. This is downright dirty deck. It's honestly one of the ones I don't play that often, but it's just kind of a fun, I guess, alternative to, playing with friends if you're just wanting to be a jerk. Anyway, Numot the Devastator. He is a 3 colorless, 1 red, 1 white, 1 blue. He is a legendary creature dragon flying. Whenever Numot the Devastator deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 3, so 2 colorless and a red, if you do destroy up to 2 target lands. So this guy has jerk written right on his face. Land destruction in EDH is obviously something that is kind of shied, it's not something we want to see that much. I think everybody has experimented with this. I've definitely run a few decks with this, but this is probably one of the most degenerate ones just because it has like the control to back it up. So anyway, 6/6 flyer, yeah, you know what to do with them. You want to just start boning people over. Getting into the deck here, I feel depressed even looking at it. It's kind of weird. So we've got Gideon Jorah. This guy is a crucial control piece to the deck. It's very effective to keep your life total up if you have a planeswalker like this to make your super threatening opponent attack Gideon that turn. Most of the time in this deck, you are winning on a turn. Like, you are just all of a sudden coming out of nowhere and just obliterating everybody. Literally obliterating everybody. I'm not kidding. Obliterating everybody. Yes. So anyway, Gideon Jorah, super effective, really fun card. I recommend him for pretty much any kind of super control build. I know he works really, really good in bans. He also works very well in, Esper strategies and stuff like that. Another Planeswalker I wanted to feature is Jace, Unraveler of Secrets. I think I only have 1 copy of this guy, and he's actually pretty good. +1, scry 1, then draw a card. That's super effective, especially if you're looking for specific cards. -2, return target creature to its owner's hand. Most of the time I actually use this to save my own creatures from board wipes and stuff like that. If I know somebody has a Wrath of God in their hand and they're getting ready to use it and Numot's on the board, it's a pretty expensive commander to keep casting. So being able to have that flexibility, it is sorcery speed, of course, but just a little bit more control. The -8, which honestly you can get to in this deck just because of the amount of control, you get an emblem whenever an opponent casts a spell, his or her first spell, each turn counter that spell. So that's kind of going into the wheelhouse of the super control aspect of this deck. It's built to shut down your opponent, just like Gideon before it. It's built to stop your opponent from doing something that they want to do. The only reason that this deck is somewhat, casual-ish is because it's very budget. I haven't gone super, into, turning this into a super monster, even though it already is. And that's a big part of the reason, is just because it's just so degenerate at times. So degenerate. Anyway, on from that, let's get into some of the creatures. We've got Azorius Guildmage. This is one of my favorite control creatures of all time. Super easy to cast. I mean, you can either cast blue-white, blue-blue, white-white. It's got that hybrid mana thing going on here. It's a Vidalcan Wizard, 2/2. First ability is you can tap target creatures. So this shuts down your opponent's attackers. It shuts down their blockers. So getting it with Numot is actually crucial most of the time. So you can just tap a creature down and swing through. Also, the second ability is 2 colorless, 1 blue, counter target activated ability. Super good ability. Shuts down a lot of things. Yeah, just awesome card. Moving on from that, we've got Baral, Chief of Compliance. A really good way to make your super crazy spells cost a lot less. There are a few of these in here, like Goblin Electromancer, stuff like that. But I think Baral is one of the ones that I haven't really talked about a whole lot. He has the added benefit of you counter spell, you can actually just loot. So really, really cool. He's a 1/3, so good at blocking. He only costs 2, so he can get out there pretty early as well. And then continuing on with the degeneracy, we've got an Aven Mind Sensor. We are focused on getting our opponent's resources reduced to basically 0. A really good way to shut down, any of those green decks, like the, basically any of them, the Maels and stuff like that, is to just throw out an Aven Mind Sensor and just stop them from finding the lands in the first place. Really effective. You can also get this out and then just start hitting whoever you want with Numot, so destroying their lands and then not allowing them to go fetch for lands is really effective as well. Yeah, Aven Mind Sensor. I know, guys, I know. This is a dark, dark day. Then we've got Gutter Snipe. kind of like a backup win condition. There are a few effects like this. Like I believe I really want to put that new one in here. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, each opponent takes one, because there's a lot of non-creature spells in here. I think it's just an uncommon from our Devastation, so maybe I'll have to make some room here. Gutter Snipe, really cool. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Pretty cut and dry there. Very, very effective. Ooh, oh god, I forgot if this was in here. So now we've got Jorah. Another way to make everyone hate you. You just get a few threats out, suspend them early, and then you just play an Obliterate or Catastrophe or whatever you want, really, and then in like 3 turns you're just basically winning the game. Most people will actually scoop at this point because they know what's going on. Jorah has an entire deck built around her that's pretty much the same thing. Just adding this into something like Numot is just super, yeah. Ooh, oh gosh, it just continues, guys. It just continues. Now we've got Grand Arbiter Augustine. So once again, denying your opponents their resources is the main, theme of the deck. So Grand Arbiter Augustine does a really effective job at that, shutting your opponents down a little bit by making their spells cost more, but also helping you by reducing the cost of your blue and white spells. So really, really effective, really good. There have been plenty of decks built around this guy as well. So it's kind of a marriage between these two, almost like Jorah and Grand Arbiter, really. A utility creature in here, Stunt Double. A lot of your spells you really want to have flash, because once again, you're doing a lot of, crooked things in my opinion. So your opponent's going to be gunning from you pretty much from the start as soon as they see your commander. So being able to kind of manipulate, when you play things more, super effective. I would say that pretty much any control build, but super effective here. There are some flash creatures that I could start adding into here if I really wanted to play this monster at all, but like I said, most of the time I'm just like, maybe not. Another one of those alternative win conditions is Psychosis Crawler. Really, really effective, especially since you've been drawing a lot of cards in this type of deck. You know what to do with this. It's been in a million different decks, and it is really effective for what it does. So, and then we've got Madome, the Ageless. Super, super, super good for taking an extra turn and once again making everyone hate you. This kind of works with the Azorius Guildmage and several other effects. It can get in when your opponent's not thinking about it, especially once again if you have the Azorius Guildmage or other ways to tap things down. Then all of a sudden you're just taking another turn. Then all of a sudden you're just, if you're spending things, those counters are coming off. If you're looking to just get somebody out of the game with Numot, you can now attack them a second time. It's just good. So there's that. And then we've got Oracle's Vault. As Greg said in his feature video for his Scarab God, which I didn't even think about, you can just reveal a land, put it into play, and then get those counters up on it, and then all of a sudden you're just casting stupid spells for free. So, which could be really nice when you're hitting, like, once again, Obliterate or any of those spells, and just casting them off the top for nothing. So, there is that. There honestly needs to be a few more mana rocks in here, something that I need to address, but one of the big ones is Prismatic Geoscope. It has domain on it, so add X to your mana pool in combination of colors to your mana pool, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. So you're probably going to be tapping for 3 with this for the most part. I think there is a waste in the deck. Well, there should be. Anyway, if there's not, there needs to be. So, actually, I don't know if that counts. But anyway, it taps for a lot of mana for 5 mana, so it's like a Gilded Lotus. It's like the budget version of it. So, really cool card. And then on to our enchantments, we've got an Aura of Silence. Really good for shutting down your opponents when they want to cast a lot of enchantments and or artifacts. Plus it has the added benefit of being able to sacrifice it if there's a key one that you just want to hit and get rid of. I don't know, this card is kind of lukewarm to me. I've played it to great effect sometimes and not to great effect other times. I like it because it feels in the same vein of Grand Arbiter Augustine, where it's just making your opponents pay more for their stuff. So, really cool card. Then we've got Azorius Charm. Modal spells are great. This card is actually super effective. I've actually kept myself alive just by giving Numot lifelink sometimes. I mean, it's got several other modes on it. I think I use that one a lot. I also use the draw card a lot as well. So, Azorius Charm. And we've got a little bit of protection. I guess, as a side note, there is a Boros Charm in this deck for a reason, giving all your stuff indestructible. I think I've just talked about that card plenty of times, so I just kind of left it on the features here. But anyway, Pollen Lullaby. Really, really good fog effect. It's got the added benefit of doing the clash thing, especially with some of the huge spells in the deck. You can usually get away with it. Once again, keeping your opponent tapped down, denying them doing what they want to do. So, plus I have a foil of it, and it just looks cool. That Lorwyn art, all those, that entire block was just great for artwork. Another new card from Amonkhet, we've got Commit to Memory. First side of it is put target spell or non-land permanent into its owner's library, second from the top. You can do this with lands, you can put, or non-land, sorry. You can do this with like mana rocks, you can do this with other commanders, you can do this with all kinds of stuff. The memory side is actually really cool too. Each player shuffles his or her library, her hand. Sorry, I hate these sideways cards, they're so hard to read sometimes. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library, then draws 7 cards. So a really cool wheel effect. If you've just destroyed the entire everybody's mana base except for yours and you want to do this, that's actually pretty cool because there are some cards that can get lands back from the graveyard, like Splendid Reclamation, stuff like that. So yeah, just really good shutdown card. Now we've got Insidious Will, once again going to modal spells. This basically does whatever you want it to do when you want it to do it. You can counter target spell, you may choose new targets for a target spell, so if somebody's trying to destroy your Numot, you just essentially swerve it to something else. You can copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. It just does so much. Really cool card. I would definitely recommend picking it up if you can. I don't think it's going to be expensive at any point, but I'd pick it up. And then we've got Desertion, another card that's pretty dark and dirty. So counter target spell, if an artifact or creature spell is countered this way, put that card onto the battlefield under your control instead of into its owner's graveyard. So you're essentially stealing their bomb. There are a lot of things you can do with this. I've stolen Avacyn's with this. Yeah, it's just really cool. And then we've got the budget version of Cyclonic Rift, which is Evacuation. I, once again, haven't put a Cyclonic Rift in here just because I don't feel like I should. But Evacuation works a lot with our deck because we honestly don't care about our creatures that much. Like, we like having them or whatever, but the main focus, again, is like getting your opponents denied their resources and then just winning through that advantage compared to like having a board state and attacking with creatures. So just an interesting way. Plus there's a lot of things in here that we want to play again anyway for like ETBs and stuff like that. On from that, we're moving on to our sorceries. We've got a Merchant Scroll. So searching up some of those really key blue cards is sometimes really effective. Just an interesting tutor. It's more budget once again. I haven't really seen a whole lot of people play it. Probably just because there's better options out there, but I mean, I found it pretty effective in this deck, so there's that. On from that, we've got a Catastrophe. So 6 costs, destroy all lands or all creatures. So it's kind of, well, it is modal. It has the option of doing one or the other. Usually you're looking to destroy all lands with this, but sometimes you do have to do like a creature board wipe. So it's a really nice include for that. And then we've got a new Dirty Win condition and Approach the Second Sun. So, for example, if you can gain the mana, or you can use your Oracle's Vault to cast this and then put it on top of your library and do the whole thing, it can be a clock. I mean, it can really make your opponents try and like scramble to a victory, especially if you're holding them down the entire time and they just can't win against you, and then you do something like this. You essentially don't have to do anything until this pops up, and then you just hold up your counterspell and you cast this, and then no one can do anything with it. So, really fun alternative win condition here. I'd say it's probably the only like fun win condition in here, to be honest. And then we've got some extra turn spells, like Beacon of Tomorrows. I won't even get into it. Take another turn and just destroy your opponents. And then we've got the feature card, which is Obliterate. This is the Mac Daddy destruction spell. Can't be countered, destroys everything. You just, throw out your Boros. Usually what I do is I cast my Boros Charm, make all my stuff indestructible. At that point, somebody will be like, I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's just going for a big attack. So it's kind of like bluffing with your opponents, because sometimes, if you cast this, then cast the Boros Charm, they're going to try and counter the Boros Charm. Where if you do it in the opposite order, sometimes it'll catch people off guard. So just a fun tip against control decks and stuff like that. So cast your Boros Charm and then follow it up with an Obliterate, and you pretty much sealed the game. I don't know if anybody can really get out of that, because you have that Numot to continue to destroy the lands that they play. So they're really, there's not a whole lot of options for them. So there's that. Yeah, super dark. The only land I really wanted to feature in this deck was City of Brass. I don't think I've talked about it yet. It's actually It's a really cool land, actually. It came out a long time ago, and it's really not that steep of a cost to essentially get every color of mana that you want. I know a lot of people, look at this land and they're just like, why would I want to pay 1 life just to have a command tower? But you got to remember that in that time, command tower wasn't a thing, and there's a lot of other, I guess the pain lands, that's another good example of this. Like, those lands are still good, even though you have to use a resource, which is your life, to use them. They're not bad. So they're great budget versions for pretty much any deck if you're just looking to fill something out and you're just, are running out of funds, essentially. So yeah, I recommend them. I don't think City of Brass is actually that cheap, but the pain lands actually are not that expensive. So anyway, I'm happy you guys could join me in this awesome degenerate deck tech, and we will look forward to seeing you next time with hopefully a little bit more, less bit of darkness. Thanks, guys.